Hey everybody, Kyle Goth here from GoatFilmReviews.com and the Goat Film Reviews YouTube channel, and I have my first reaction to the new film, Twilight of the Warriors Walled In. This is a 2024 film that was a Chinese film, Hong Kong neo-noir, martial arts, crime epic with fantasy elements in a disparate society that is an alternate reality of ours in the 1980s. Did I just say everything? There's probably something I'm missing. This film basically has been brewing for like 25 years now. It follows Locke, who is kind of a fugitive on the run criminal who enters the walled city, which is this walled off portion near Hong Kong that is kind of seen as this like dangerous territory, but there's like order amongst the chaos here. He meets a couple new friends. He finds a new mentor figure named Cyclone, and he kind of tries to basically find a new place to call home, if you will, but trouble follows him there. I had a blast watching this movie. This was so much fun. The interesting time period when it's set, because it's like an alternate universe 1980s, so it still has kind of like a lot of 80s looking elements to it, you know, music of the time, magazines and newspapers from that time period. Everyone's kind of dressed a little bit more in that time period. But it's also like an alternate version of our own in this walled off city called, I think, Kowloon is what I believe it's called. And so it's this kind of odd society within there. It kind of felt almost like Escape from New York vibes, except that there wasn't that running clock. He basically gets here, and much like Spirited Away, like this person who gets stuck in this other world has to navigate it and figure out how to live their lives in it. And so I like the friends that he makes, 12th Master, AV, Shin, and then his mentor Cyclone. Really interesting character mix here. A lot of unique people that were just fun to watch and follow as they were going through things. This is definitely a bit more of a slow burn than I expected it to be, but when the fight scenes happen, they really hit with a punch. And particularly, I think this movie's finale does what a lot of the action fare of 2024 has failed to do. A lot of action movies this year have had finales where it's basically two guys throw each other around a room. And I'm not joking. I had at least 5 or 6 different films I saw this year that have had that two guys throw each other around a room finale. And it was dull. It was dull action. And what was so crazy was that most of those films had better action all throughout until you got to the finale. Twilight of the Warriors has a lot of two guys throwing each other around a room, but in its finale, it has narrative purpose, it has stakes, and it's also just fantastically choreographed and a lot of fun visually to look at. There's some really interesting dynamics that are happening in the fight scenes. There's people throwing each other around, people jumping off of beds. Like, I thought the action in the movie was a lot of fun. I think the characters were really well defined. I think the story itself, because it's not moving extremely fast, you almost feel like you're maybe missing something. I had a few times where I was like, wait, did I make that connection? And you know, I struggled with that a little bit in like the middle of the film, where I was trying to wonder, like, wait, did I miss something that happened here? Because I do feel like that it moves at kind of a traditionally slower pace, maybe a little bit too slow at times, because I did feel like there was gaps where I was wondering where the narrative was going, and it picked back up again every single time I started to feel that way. So it wasn't like a drudge to get through, but it was an absolutely enjoyable experience all the way through. I love these really stylized kind of action films that can elevate the art form in a lot of unique ways, and I think there's some really fun characters to follow around here, and you could see some certain influences, even just in my limited knowledge of the genre. I could see influences all around here that were really creating this interesting world, because I believe, let me just get the name of it here, because I had pulled it up, that the film, it's based on a novel called City of Darkness, and they were going to make it back in the 2000s with John Woo directing it, and would have had like Nicolas Cage and James McAvoy in it. Didn't end up happening. They tried getting off the ground in 2013, still didn't end up happening. Finally got off the ground here. And I think this version of the film is really fun. I would have liked to have seen actually what the Nicolas Cage, James McAvoy, Chow Yun-fat, Tony Leung version of that would have been. But that's okay. I live with what I have. But this finished product was a lot of fun. I believe I saw something on there that made it seem like this was maybe the first in like 3 films, like a trilogy. If that's the case, I'm terribly excited to find out where it goes after this, because it kind of leaves in a place where I feel comfortable if we didn't return, but I want to spend more time in this world. It was such a unique kind of fascinating world. And again, if you hit the 1980s, you're going to hit me. And if you hit, culturally speaking, a different version of the 1980s, I really enjoy that too. There was just so much fun to be had in this film. And like I said, maybe the issue I had was that the slow pacing did kind of necessitate slow narrative building, where I feel like we could have spent more time on specific narrative choices instead of spacing out those narrative plot points as much as we did. But that's okay. I enjoyed myself nonetheless, and I definitely would recommend Twilight of the Warriors Walled In. If this is your type of movie, I think you would actually quite enjoy the display that's on there. Again, some great action, some fun characters to spend time with, and a story that narratively hits a couple of similar beats, but doesn't in a way that I quite enjoyed all the same. So let me know when you see the film what you thought of Twilight of the Warriors Walled In down below in the comments section. While you're down there, please like and subscribe. There are 2 free things you can do to help support the channel immensely, and you never miss new episodes of the show as they drop. While you're down there, you can also check out links for goatfilmreviews.com for my many written reviews. You can find Goat Film Reviews on Facebook. You can follow me at Almighty Goatman on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Threads. You can find my show Kyle and Nick on Film that I co-host with Nick Palachuk from the St. Paul Filmcast. We have new episodes of that show every single week. There's also a link down in the description for the Minnesota Film Critics Alliance. You can find out what other film critics in our group thought of Twilight of the Warriors Walled In, or you can just look at more of my stuff. Thank you so much for joining me. Check out all those links down below. Tell me your thoughts in the film, and we'll see you next time.